Live from Hollywood, it's Rockline, the show where you interview the biggest stars in rock and roll. Hello again, I'm Bob Coburn. Rockline is brought to you by Budweiser, Nothing Beats a Bud, by Columbia House Music Club, entertaining America one person at a time, and by AT&T, more ways to help you stay in touch. Tonight, Rockline welcomes Def Leppard. So get your questions ready and call us toll-free in the U.S. and Canada at 1-800-344-ROCK. That's 1-800-344-7625, one number toll-free from anywhere in North America. You know, it's hard to believe that Adrenalize, released in spring of this year, is only the third Def Leppard album since 1983, but talk about music worth waiting for. All three have become CDs that many other bands can only aspire to emulate. Tonight, it's our pleasure to welcome all the members of the band. Joining us a little bit later on in the show will be lead vocalist Joe Elliott and also Rick Savage, the bass player. Joining us right now, however, we'd like to welcome to the Rockline studios one of the guitar players, Mr. Phil Collin. Welcome to Rockline.
All right, thanks.
Nice to have you here. And we also have drummer Rick Allen. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
And the newest member, I should say, even though he's been on tour with the band for quite some time now, Mr. Vivian Campbell. Welcome to Rockline.
Thank you very much.
Nice to see you again. I saw you at the Freddie Mercury AIDS Awareness show. And,
yeah, it was one of our first shows.
Yeah. Was that the very first show that you had done with the band?
We had played a club in Dublin a week before. And that was the second
But that was it, huh?
That was the first real show.
You go from a club in Dublin to Wembley Stadium full of 70,000 people. That's really quite a transition. The MTV Awards are imminent. Is this something that you guys still get excited about? I mean, after all the accolades and the benefits that you've gotten over the years, do you still get excited about this?
Well, we've never actually won any awards, so we're still waiting, any MTV award or anything. So, and it's a little different this year, we're playing live. Everyone's playing live, so that makes it a little more exciting.
You are performing live.
Yeah.
Now, Joe will be in here a little bit later. He's had a few vocal problems and whatnot. His voice is apparently up to par, and he's ready to rock then, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we're playing a 2.5-hour set. Actually, it's longer than that most nights. And it just takes it out of you so much, especially for Joe, he has to sing all the time and talk when he's not singing.
And talk when he's not singing. Yeah, everybody wants to get a hold of him, and you guys as well.
And he loves to talk.
He loves to talk.
Good, because this is a talk show. I welcome that kind of thing. This worldwide tour that you've been on for a while, Vivian, how's it working out for you? Past that club date and the Freddie Mercury show and whatnot, you're kind of into it now. How's it feel to be a member of Def Leppard?
It feels great. I mean, I've played with a lot of people through the years, and this is very, very different because Def Leppard's a real family atmosphere band, and a very professional band too. Musically, it's a lot more challenging. It's a lot of vocals in it, and it's a lot more entertaining for me to be part of. But actually, I must say that after we did the Mercury thing, we went back into rehearsal for a few weeks, and then we went and played more clubs. We actually did a club tour in Europe, in Scandinavia for about 3 weeks. So we played a lot of little places, which was great for me, and I think it was good for the band too, because we really got to be tight, playing on tiny little stages every night in front of 500 people or something.
Now, Rick, 2.5 hours on stage as a drummer, I mean, that's a long time. I mean, that's got to wear you out night after night after night. I understand the band has worked in an acoustic song part of the way through. Do you just disappear and go get a cold glass of ice water or something during that?
That's exactly what I do. I get to go underneath the stage and make fun of the guys for a few minutes. But that's pretty much the only time during the show that I get a break. But it's like anything, you pace yourself, and we're all getting really used to, the length of the set.
Phil, why don't you tell us about this new song that the band has worked into, this acoustic song? It's not on an album, is it?
No, it's actually a B-side in some countries. It's called From the Inside, and we done it with a band called
Hot House Flowers.
I forgot from Dublin. Who, they're great. They're very traditional sounding.
Outstanding band.
Yeah, we got together one night and we played live, and that was one of the songs, and it turned out great. So we decided to put it in the set. And it gives all us three a break, because just Sav and Joe go out there and play it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? Well, speaking of playing, we're going to play something right now. This is from Adrenalize, the latest CD by Def Leppard. It's called Make Love Like a Man on Rockline on the Global Satellite Network. And that's a fact, yeah. From Adrenalize, Def Leppard, Make Love Like a Man, or just don't bother with it, huh? We'll be right back with more from Def Leppard in just a moment. If you'd like to be part of the show, dial that Rockline AT&T phone line, toll-free 1-800-344-ROCK. Rockline and AT&T helping you stay in touch. Continues on the Valley's rock and roll station, Z95 WZZO. We are back. It is an evening with Def Leppard. It's Rockline with Bob Coburn. A reminder, everyone who gets on the air tonight with Def Leppard receives a copy of their new CD, Adrenalize, courtesy of Mercury Records. Also, we'd like to welcome a brand new Rockline affiliate this evening, and that is 100.3 KZRX in Phoenix, Arizona, Arizona's hardest rock. Welcome aboard. Glad to hear from you tonight. So let's get some calls from the Phoenix area. First call tonight is Denise. She is in Roseville, California, listening to 93 Rock in Sacramento. And Denise, you're on the Rockline.
Hi, guys.
Hi. Hi.
I was just wondering if you plan to take the tour to the stadiums when summer rolls around.
If we're still on tour, and if, you know, I don't know, it's coming into winter now, so I think we're scheduled up to about February next year, and then we'll just have to play it by ear after that, so I'm not quite sure yet.
Yeah, it's just really difficult to say whether we could do that. It really depends on the strength of the record and, you know, how people are sort of receiving it. But it's difficult to say whether we could do that or not.
There's also a physical problem
with playing in the round.
Playing in the round.
Yeah, how do you do it outdoors?
Well,
no roof.
We have kind of discussed the possibility. There are a couple of ideas, but we don't know if it's going to work or not.
Well, let's hope the record stays really alive, that the weather stays great. You scheduled the tour because I want to see this. I want to see this done. Way to start us off, Denise. Thank you very much. We have Elisa on the line in Palm Harbor, Florida, and she's a listener of 95 YNF in Tampa. And Elisa, you're on the show.
Hi. I have a question for Vivian Campbell.
Yes.
You've been in so many established bands like Whitesnake, and now you're in the greatest band, Def Leppard.
Oh,
do you
no.
feel like you're always the new guy on the block?
Yeah, I am the new guy on the block. Prior to my joining Def Leppard, Phil was the new guy for 10 years. For 10 years. He said he's been in the band for 10 years, and no one's actually told him he's in the band yet. So at least true. At least they told me after a couple of days, you know. Yeah, but I honestly won't be in any more bands after this. And to be honest, up until joining Def Leppard, I wasn't about to work with any more bands. I pretty much had it. But this is a very different situation, and they're very different people.
Where would you go from here? I mean, you know,
yeah, exactly,
this is a pinnacle band. I mean, you know, any other step would be, you know, lateral at best.
Well, plus it's very rewarding. I mean, this is a band that writes together. Everyone in the band gets involved in the writing and making every decision creatively, and everyone sings a lot. There's a lot of creative outlets. It's not like a Whitesnake situation where it's, you know, a turnover of musicians every couple of years or anything like that.
I heard there was talk as far back as a year ago of you possibly joining, and that the band wanted a great guitarist, a guy who fit in well chemistry-wise and whatnot, and a British passport.
Well,
why would that be the case? Well, I'm curious about that.
Well, we actually wanted someone who kind of had the same upbringing as us, you know, and if you get someone who's from a different country, then perhaps they'll miss something. The great thing is, I mean, it worked out perfect, you know. Vivian's got the same kind of humour as us, all listen to the same kind of music, and it's just like it's one of us.
Yeah,
that's really what we was looking for.
It wasn't meant to be taken so literally.
No,
so literally.
It was more that he grew up listening to the same sort of music and
background.
You know,
not that you could go to Cuba and he couldn't. Lisa, thanks a lot. We're going to move on now. We have Harry in Huntington, West Virginia, listener of Rock 105 in Charleston. Harry, you're on.
How's it going, guys?
Good.
Right. Good, thanks.
I have a question for you. I really enjoyed the Adrenalize, a lot of good songs on it, and I was wondering, with all the great songs you've released over the years, could the next album possibly be a greatest hits collection?
I don't know. I think we try and steer clear of that for the moment. You know, it's you know, perhaps one day, perhaps a live album or something, but not right now. You know, we've actually got quite a bit of material that we've never released, so you know, perhaps that's a possibility as well for the next one.
Yeah, the next question then becomes, what about live, which is almost the greatest hits if you did that.
Yeah, I mean, we had a live video out, so the unfortunate thing about live albums is you miss a lot of the atmosphere. You really have to be there. You know, even with a live video, you're not part of the atmosphere, you know, and you really do miss a hell of a lot. That's why we overemphasize our studio albums. You know, we make everything, you know, a vocal, have 200 voices on it as opposed to just a 3-part or something. And you can control that, but with the live thing, you really lose a lot of the control unless you're there.
I've heard your vocal standards are Bohemian Rhapsody and I Am the Walrus, which is a pretty good thing to aspire to. I mean, talk about vocalizing. Harry, thanks for the call. We'll move on. We'll let Craig have his turn. In St. John's, Newfoundland, listening to Oz FM. Hi there.
Hello.
How you doing, guys?
Good. How you doing?
Thanks.
I think Def Leppard's great.
Thank you.
Okay, my question is to Phil and Rick. I was wondering, what kind of inspiration did you get out of Vivian Campbell joining the band, or what did he add to the band?
They get $20 each.
And more guitars to play.
Yeah. It's just really rewarding to have someone who fits in with us. I mean, that was, when Steve died, that was one thing, he was a very close friend. And you don't replace a family member if they die or anything like that. So with us, it was just very important that whoever we got his personality was and character was exactly the same as ours. And Vivian has just fit in so naturally. It's just perfect.
Yeah,
we couldn't ask for more, really.
I think for me it was. With Vivian being so enthusiastic about joining Def Leppard, it was a real kick for us too. To see somebody that was so enthusiastic, to learn the songs. In fact, he probably knew the songs better than we did. So it was actually really good for all of us.
Let's play something out of the past. Where you say we go back to Hysteria and Pour Some Sugar on Me. Def Leppard on Rockline. Pour Some Sugar on Me from Hysteria, Def Leppard. This is one of those nights where, what do you play? It's like close your eyes and throw a dart. You can't lose with whatever song you pick. We'll be back in just a moment. Our guest right now from Def Leppard, Phil Collen, Rick Allen, and Vivian Campbell. I'm Bob Coburn. Call us toll-free at 1-800-344-ROCK. It's Rockline on the Valley's Rock and Roll Station, 95.1 WZZO. Live with the biggest stars in rock and roll. It's Rockline. Where else but on C95 WZZO. Live via satellite, it's Rockline with Bob Coburn. Next week, my special in-studio guest will be the members of Slaughter. This will be Mark Slaughter's first interview since he had throat surgery last month. So you'll be able to ask him about the details of the rescheduled tour and hear Dana Strum talk about what it was like hosting the show last week. And my thanks to Dana, by the way. He had Joe Satriani and Bonham in here last week and did a great job. That is Slaughter next Monday night on Rockline. Alicia is in Encinitas, California, listening to Rock 102.1 in the San Diego area. And Alicia, you are on the air.
Great, thanks. I was just curious when I was listening to a disc today when I was laying by the pool and reading the liner notes, how come none of the words are printed on any of the sleeves for the albums or the discs?
Because they look really embarrassing when they're written down. They sound great when you sing them loud, but they kind of look silly and kind of geeky, so we never do that.
Now, there's a San Diego call for you there. I was lying by the beach or by the pool or whatever and reading the liner notes. And, yeah. Alicia, thank you very much. We're headed way across the country to Syracuse, New York right now. Trina is on the line. She's a listener of 95X. You're on with Def Leppard, at least with Phil and Rick and Viv anyway.
I have a question for Rick Allen. I was wondering how long you've been drumming for.
Since I was about 10. And I sort of started off on furniture at home, which my mother obviously loved. And then I moved up to a tambourine at about the age sort of 10 and a half.
We're buying him a couch for Christmas.
Better than a new kid, huh? Yeah, get him a couch.
Custom finish.
Oh, boy. What was it like with your parents and being a drummer and the constant rehearsing? And, I mean, guitar, now you can put headphones on, keyboards, you can do that. It's kind of hard to do with drums unless you have an electric kit, I guess.
My parents thought I was gonna end up in the wash basin downstairs, because I used to have my drum kit in the bedroom upstairs. But it was pretty entertaining for everyone. They didn't get too mad at me. Yeah.
Thank you, Trina, very much. We're with Phil and Rick and Viv. A reminder, a little later on, Joe Elliott and Rick Savage will be on, kind of separating the band half and half so that you can have a chance to talk with each of them. Right now, we're going to speak with Greg in West Haven, Connecticut. He is listening to 106 HCN in Hartford. Greg, you're on the Rockline.
Hey, guys, what's up?
Hi, how you doing?
My question's for Vivian, and I was wondering, what's your favorite Def Leppard song to perform live?
Ooh, well, there's a bunch of them. Towards the end of the show, we play a whole slew of songs. Pour Some Sugar on Me, Armageddon It, Let's Get Rock, Rock of Ages. I particularly like those. Armageddon It, I suppose. It's probably one of my real favorites.
Good call, Greg. Thanks. We're going to move on. We have Amy on the line right now, and she's in Granite Shoals, Texas. That's right outside of Austin. KLBJ FM 94, our station there. Amy, Def Leppard's on for you.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
It's really a thrill to talk to y'all. I've loved your music for a long time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
What I wanted to ask was this. I've heard that the band doesn't tour with security guards. Is that true? Has it ever caused a problem? And do you ever expect it to?
We never really wanted to, because in a way we think it attracts trouble in a way. You see a band with a bunch of security guards and they're getting out of limos, this, that, and the other. Sometimes it can give people the wrong impression. We like to think that we're a bit more approachable than that.
Viv, you kind of laughed at that. Getting out of limos.
I've lived in LA for 10 years. I see so many rock stars, quote unquote, who go to clubs and places with big guys who are 6 feet wide with walkie-talkies in their ear, and okay, he's in the bathroom. Is the bathroom clear?
Sometimes it's just for show.
Yeah,
sometimes it is.
It's a bit. Sometimes it's necessary, and sometimes a lot of the time it's not. And I think a lot of people do it just for the wrong reasons, and it can be very intimidating to other people in the business as well as just fans who want to. An autograph or something?
That's true. It's very true. And for you fans who see people with bodyguards in places, watch out for the smaller guys who constantly scan the room. They're the dangerous ones.
The guys with the dark glasses.
That's right. Yeah. Those are the ex-CIA guys that you don't want to mess with, believe me. Amy, thanks for calling. Julie's turn now in Sauk Rapids. She is listening to Rockin' 101, and that's in Minnesota, of course. Julie, you're on the show.
Hi. I was wondering, why don't you have an opening act for any of your concerts?
Because our set's too long. We've got like 2 hours, 40 minutes, something like that, and it's actually getting longer. The more songs that become popular, we put them in the set. Yeah. And it's just getting longer and longer and longer, so we really ain't got time.
Yeah, on the last tour it became really apparent that we didn't really have time to play all the songs that we wanted to play. So this time we decided we wanted to do it a little bit differently. And this is what we decided, and this is the only way that we can really get to play all the songs we want to play. And now the show is up to 2 hours 45 or something.
Some nights, yeah.
Does crowd response come into play? The more that you get to the crowd, the more that you give back.
Well, we're doing the same set as we done in England and Australia, and all of a sudden it's half an hour longer since we were in the States. That's purely on audience.
Really?
Yeah.
Real? Oh, that's terrific.
They keep going and going and going.
Yeah, people are just
don't stop clapping.
People are just really, people are just really enthusiastic. It's great.
We're also very loyal here in North America. Once we take you on, and it can be a lifetime affair. I noticed at the Freddie Mercury AIDS Awareness concert, the British audience almost seemed to be choreographed, almost in sync with the hand clapping and everything. It was almost like some dance choreographer had been out there to coach them.
Very musical.
Yeah, that's what it is. Huh?
Yeah. We just had lessons the day before. It's like, okay, the Wembley lessons.
White people can clap. It's proven.
Julie, thanks. We have a call from Joey now, and he is in Kenner, Louisiana. That's right outside New Orleans. Our station there, 99.5 WRNO. And Joey, you're on the Rockline.
Hello, Rick, Steve, Vivian. How y'all doing tonight?
Steve's not here.
I'm sorry.
Phil.
It's Phil. Steve will be here momentarily, though, with Joe.
I wanted to say, Vivian, welcome to the band.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I want to wish y'all no more tragedies, first of all. God, you guys are like the hardest working band, man, and you guys really deserve more than what you get. I want to say, with Tesla writing Song and Emotion, how do y'all feel about that? I mean, does that make it difficult for Def Leppard to listen to that, or is it easier? Do y'all appreciate what Tesla did? Because I know you guys are real good friends with them because they were in your video, Pour Some Sugar on Me, the British version.
Right, yeah, they toured with us for about a year as well, so we kind of got close, and obviously they knew Steve very well, and yeah, it's great that they done that. I remember the first time we heard it, it was kind of, yeah, it was a bit emotional.
Yeah, it was kind of moving.
Yeah, definitely.
But really flattering that that they would do something like that,
right.
For Steve and for us.
Not to take away anything that you have been through, and you've been through a lot, obviously, but but everyone else goes through things like that too. That's a part of life. We all go through that type of thing, and you have to learn to deal with it and move on.
Definitely, yeah.
We're going to play a song right now from Adrenalize by Def Leppard. Have you ever needed someone so bad on Rockline? Have you ever needed someone so bad? Def Leppard from Adrenalize. We're with Phil and Rick and Viv from the band right now. A little later, Joe Elliott and Rick Savage will be on. And a moment ago, somebody mentioned Steve, and of course I said he would be here. That is obviously not the case. I was thinking of Sav, of Rick coming in, and I apologize for that. We have a call from Joe. He's in Cape Coral, Florida, listener of 96 K-Rock in Fort Myers, where a lot of ugly activity has taken place in recent weeks, and we certainly hope that everyone is okay down there, and that your houses get rebuilt and whatnot. I know that Homestead in Florida City were the areas hardest hit, but I know that Fort Myers was also impacted. Joe, you're on the air.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Oh, pretty good. First of all, I'd like to say I'm one of your greatest fans.
Good.
And the question is, to Vivian, was any of the music changed when you entered the band?
Not really, no. I mean, I think when I was learning Def Leppard material, I was watching the live video from the last tour, and there were certain little differences in the arrangements for intros and endings and middle sections that the band did, and pretty much that's what's happening on this tour. You know, there's some different things. We are doing the song Rocket on tour, and we added a whole middle section to it, but for the most part, you know, the music is as is.
We're going to play Rocket in a few minutes, as a matter of fact. That was your perfect chance to say the music got better once you joined the band.
I'm sorry, I missed the opportunity. Can I backpedal?
Yeah, we'll rewind that.
Yes, it's truly fab. God, I'm so good.
Joe, thanks. It's Jenny's turn. She's in Mentor, Ohio, listening to 100.7 The Buzzard in Cleveland. Jenny, you're on.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
First, I just want to say you guys are the greatest band in the world.
Thanks.
Wow, thank you.
You know, we wait so long for your albums. I was just wondering why it takes so long between them.
We don't want to release something unless we're 100% happy with it, you know, and if that means redoing guitars, getting better sounds, making the songs better, then we kind of do that, you know, until we get to the point where we instinctively feel it's as good as it can be. Yeah. You know, we don't want to just release anything. I mean, we could go in there and record 10 songs in a week if we wanted, but I don't think we'd be really happy, and I don't think you guys would either. So
gives you a chance too. If you like something, say 4 months before, you can 4 months later go back and say, let's redo it or let's drop it. You know, we don't want to use this. Yeah,
right.
It's great when you can feel really proud of of what we do, and that's the main objective.
Quality rather than quantity.
There you go. Jenny, thanks for being on the Rockline tonight. We're going to talk with Brian now, our new affiliate in Phoenix, Arizona, KZRX. Brian, you're on the Rockline.
Hello, how you guys doing?
Good. How you doing?
All right. I was just wondering what your next video was going to be, and if you have any plans to come into Phoenix real soon. I'd really like to get a chance to meet you guys somehow.
Well, we're going to Arizona, I think, in the next couple of months. I don't know if it's Phoenix or Tucson.
I think it's Tucson, yeah.
Tucson. How far is Tucson?
It's only up the road.
Can you go?
It's a close enough drive. If he's a fan, he'll make it. Yeah, it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that.
What's going to be our next video, champ?
Well, the new one's just kind of come out just recently. Have you ever need someone so bad? So I'm not 100% sure yet. I mean, we've got a choice of about 3 or 4. So really not sure yet.
Are you going to spend as much money as you did on the first one that you did?
Yeah. No. No.
That was what? That was close to $500,000 for that. And you know what? That is a tremendous video. Is that claymation that's worked in with that?
It's like computer
graphics and stuff.
Limelight did a wonderful job.
And
Steve Byrne did a
the character in there is Flynn.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Nice job on that one. So,
thank you.
Caller was Brian, and we promised to play Rocket, so I think now is a good time to do that. This is Rocket by Def Leppard on Rockline on the Global Satellite Network. Rocket. Yeah, there you go, Def Leppard. And that goes back to the Hysteria album. By the way, tonight is the night that we announced the winners of the 92 Rockline calendars, autographed by Glenn Fry, Ron Wood, Warrant, the Fabulous Thunderbirds, George Harrison, Joe Satriani and his band, Bonham. And our congratulations go to Jeff Paluca from Mesquite, Texas, right outside Dallas, Bill Greer from Lake Stevens, Washington, Robert Stipes from Richmond, Kentucky, also Sandy Rocca from Vancouver, British Columbia, Shelley LeBlanc from Hammond, Louisiana, also Chris Keene out of Grand Forks, North Dakota, as well as Ryan Barnes from Pensacola, Florida, from Albuquerque, Sharon Lee, out of Oklahoma City, Dave Simmons, Karen Lindsley from Phoenix, Barbara Gold from Salt Lake City, and Michelle Shea from Omaha. I hope you all enjoy these great collector's items with all those wonderful autographs on them. If you'd like to qualify for the September giveaway, please send a postcard to 92 Rockline Calendar, P.O. Box 4383, Hollywood, California 90078. The 1992 Rockline Calendar is brought to you by AT&T. Well, we now have in the studio with us Mr. Joe Elliott. Welcome to Rockline.
Hello.
And we also have Mr. Rick Savage. Welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks.
I'd like to introduce you to Phil Collin, Rick Allen, and Vivian Campbell, in case you guys don't know each other.
I've got one question, actually, for Phil. Do you want to be in the band?
I'm going to have to think about it, but I'll let you know.
Oh, man. You've been listening in the other room, obviously, there. Yeah. After 10 years, you finally get an invite, Phil.
Yeah, really.
That's amazing. Well, we have had a lot of fun with Phil and Rick and Vivian, and we thank you very much. It's been a very quick 45 minutes or so with you guys, and I look forward to seeing you in Southern California. I don't think I'm supposed to announce that date yet, so
right.
We will kind of keep that one in the bag, but let's put it this way. It's going to be quite a night in Southern California. It's going to be a big night. It's going to be a holiday kind of night, so we'll leave it at that.
Correct.
Thanks, guys, for coming in. We'll talk with Joe and Rick in just a moment as Rockline continues on the Global Satellite Network. Call us toll-free at 1-800-344-ROCK. Live from Hollywood, California, it's Rockline and the Valley's Rock and Roll Station, Z95, WZZO. Again, our number is toll-free, 1-800-344-ROCK. We'd now like to welcome two more members of Def Leppard. Joe Elliott, welcome to the program.
Hi.
And also we have Mr. Rick Savage. Welcome back to Rockline.
Thank you.
You guys have been on several times over the years, and good to have you face-to-face here in the Rockline studio and whatnot.
Yeah, I remember the first time I did it was... back in 81, I think, when Beamer was hosting the show.
That's amazing.
And there was three Joes on. There was Elliot, Perry, who was just going out on his own with a project, and Joey Ramone.
That's amazing.
Strange days.
The Joe night. Yeah. More Joes than any person could possibly handle in one evening there. First of all, good luck at the MTV Awards.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
I hope you card home all three of them. You know, I really would like to see the video.
We're up for 4.
Are you up for 4? Really?
Yeah, it's one of those things. We've never really attached too much importance to it. We've never really won an award in the past, and it's never really hampered our careers. But it's always nice if it comes along. If it doesn't, no big deal, you know.
Well, you got to have a good song to begin with, which you do, and then the video it's an amazing piece of work. It really and truly is. It's really a lot of fun to watch. You can watch it over and over.
Yeah, it actually has the same effect on us because it's half and half between like performance and animation. When you're watching the animation part, it really could be anybody's video, so you can see it with a bit more perspective rather than like, when it's just yourself you're looking at. Sometimes you can think, oh God, I could have done with losing a bit of weight, or whatever. But when you see the cartoon thing, which could have really been in anybody's video, but we were lucky enough to be the first people to get hold of that technology. We think it works really well.
You sound good. I had heard that your voice was a little dodgy.
You want to hear him sing?
Kaboom!
If you talk to me after we've done one of our legendary 3-in-a-row shows, if you talk to me after the third hour of the third night, I can sound a little bit croaky.
Well.
We did have to cancel one show because I picked up a cold in New Zealand. It was winter when we were there in July. Then we went to Japan to do some press, and we went straight from this winter climate into this ridiculously hot temperature in Japan, and then back to Europe, and then straight to America. And I had this cold I just couldn't get rid of, and singing on top of that just ripped me a little bit too much, so we had to cancel it. We had to actually reschedule a show.
A lot of people don't realize the South Island of New Zealand goes very far south, and it gets very chilly down there toward the bottom of that.
It is cold down there.
Down in the Queensland area and whatnot. The tour's obviously going very, very well. You're playing in the round again. No amps or speakers or anything on stage to obstruct the view?
No, basically everything's underneath the stage. I mean, that's the way we did it on the last tour, and it has to be that way, obviously, because to play in the round, you have to basically have as flat a stage as possible so that people can actually see across the stage to the other side. And it works out fine. It's a little different from the conventional way where you're used to having the sound at your back. Now it's just at your feet. And once you get used to that, it's a great way of playing.
Good thing you don't have to put it together. It takes, what, 8 hours?
Yeah, and the rest.
Oh, man.
It's about a 3 hour to take down and 8 hours to put up, yeah.
It's always easier to tear something down than put it up, isn't it? Yeah.
I often think about it, you know, these guys, they spend all this time putting it up, and then just a few short hours later, they have to take it all down, pack it into 12 trucks, and then drive it 300 miles.
Let's hit the phones. People want to talk with you. We're going to Pittsburgh right now. Donnie is on the line. He's listening to CD 98.3 in Joplin, Missouri. I guess this is Pittsburgh, Missouri then, huh?
Pittsburgh, Kansas. Just
Pittsburgh,
on the other
Kansas.
side of Joplin.
Thanks for the correction. Go ahead.
Hey, Joe, Sav, what's up?
Good, good. How are you?
Could you say hi to a couple people real quick for me?
Yep.
To my girlfriend, Shannon.
Hi, Shannon. Hi, Shannon.
And my brother, JP.
Hey, JP, how are you, man?
I had a question. Your guys' artwork. Where do you guys come up with your artworks for your albums? They're really, really unique.
Well, we, in 1983, after the High and Dry album, when we kind of got we have to use Hypnosis because Led Zeppelin used them out of our system, we decided to look elsewhere, and we came across this company in London called Satori, and specifically a guy called Andy Airfix, who was very up for doing the job, and he came up with the best design out of all the ones that were offered to us for the Pyromania album. And we just thought, by the time we got to the Hysteria record, we'd give him first crack at the whip, at coming up with something as well. And he's always come up with the best designs for us. And when we did the Adrenalize record, we actually, just for the hell of it, sent out tenders, or whatever you want to call it, to 6 or 7 different art companies. Andy Airfix was still the best one that came out. If you could have seen some of the stuff that they got, you know, Def Leppard, yeah, they're a heavy metal band. You know, we got babies with, because we call it Adrenalize, there's one with a baby with a wire coming out of its head, about to plug a thing into the mains. It was like, oh dear.
Thank you for not using that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Three albums in a row, he's come up with the best work, so that's why we've stuck with him so far.
Donnie, thank you, calling from Pittsburgh, Kansas. And we have Matt on the line in Citrus Heights, California, listening to 93 Rock in Sacramento. Matt, you are on with Joe and also with Rick.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
Good, thanks.
I just want to say I'm a huge fan of yours. Like, I like all your albums and all that stuff. But I wanted to know is, I buy all your 45s just for the B-sides. And there's a couple songs exceptionally well, like Ring of Fire and Miss You in a Heartbeat. I wanted to know how you guys decide what goes on the B-sides and what goes on the album.
It's a good question, actually, because we always tend to write a few more songs than we really need for an album, or at least we have a lot of ideas left over. And it's just a process of elimination, basically. We get certain songs, and certain songs become apparent that they're obviously going to make the record. And other songs kind of just get left by the wayside, as it were. And basically, when we've finished a record, we amalgamate all the spare ideas that we have and try and make them into songs which weren't necessarily quite good enough to make the record, but makes life interesting because we can then put it on B-sides and make more material available for people to buy. But it's a difficult process that it goes through, really. And it's basically whatever the best song wins, basically, half the time.
For Adrenalize, what was the last song written that made it actually onto the record, the CD?
Let's Get Rocked.
It was Let's Get Rocked, yeah. We're going to play the version from the Freddie Mercury AIDS Awareness concert right now. That was quite an afternoon, wasn't it?
It was a great day altogether, really. Just for the amount of people that were involved in the whole day. And it was completely ego-free, which is the nice thing. You know?
It really and truly was, and it was band after band after band, and of course players from one band playing with another, and different cross-pollination and everything. It was a wonderful show to be at and be part of. We're going to play the live version of it for you right now. Let's Get Rocked by Def Leppard on Rockline on the Global Satellite Network.
Do you want me to ride?
All right. right. Yeah. Let's Get Rock recorded live at Wembley Arena. You've never heard that before? My goodness.
Can I get a copy of that when we leave?
Sure. We'll make sure you get a copy. I mean, a copy of the whole show and everything.
Cool.
The song was relatively new when it was performed.
Yeah, it was only the second time that Vivian had actually ever played on stage with us as well.
That's unbelievable. If you would like to see Def Leppard live, they'll be in Salt Lake on the 11th of this month, Boise, Idaho the 12th, Yakima, Washington on the 13th, and Billings, Montana the 15th, Casper, Wyoming the 16th, into Las Vegas for a night of fun on Friday the 18th, San Diego the 19th, Fresno on the 20th of September, and the other scheduled dates we have Sacramento on the 25th and Oakland, California at the Coliseum Arena on the 26th. We'll be back in just one moment with Joe and Rick Savage from Def Leppard on Rockline on the Global Satellite Network. Call us toll-free at 1-800-344-ROCK. Rock and roll station Z95 WZZO. Welcome back to Rockline. It's an evening with Def Leppard. I'm Bob Coburn. We're with Joe Elliott and Rick Savage right now, and we have a call from Charlevoix, Michigan. It is Eric, a listener of 97.5 KLT in Traverse City. Eric, you're on the show.
Yeah, I'd like to say you guys sound excellent live.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Eric.
I have a question for Joe, or I'd like him to describe the birthday present he gave to Biv in Charlevoix, in Saginaw, Michigan.
This is a family program, isn't it?
Yeah, you can clean it up a little bit. Yeah.
Vivian had his 30th birthday recently, and we gave him a bottle of champagne on stage, but it was delivered by a scantily clad young lady.
Oh, indeed.
It was I don't know. It was traditional. Let's put it that way. Very traditional English thing to do for a 30th birthday.
Did he pop the cork?
Yes, very much.
He popped the cork and finished the bottle off, I think, before he did his solo.
That's great.
Eric, were you there?
I like the effect of the round stage where everybody can get front row seat.
Were you actually there at the show?
Yeah, it's
you saw it?
What's that?
You actually saw what happened?
Yeah.
Oh, so you really didn't need us to explain it at all.
He wanted to bring it up. So the next question becomes, Eric, how was she?
Well, actually, that just goes to prove what a great view you do get when Def Leppard play.
Everybody gets a good seat. Eric, thanks. Jacqueline's on the line now in Omaha, Nebraska, Z92, our longtime affiliate there. And Jacqueline, you're on.
Hi, I just want to say I am one of your hugest fans. I'm just so nervous right now. I'm sweating like bullets.
Well, thank you anyway.
I want to say I have 5 copies of Adrenalize.
5?
Yes, 5.
Why?
I'm a big fan. I'm not
That's
kidding.
pretty big.
Ask anybody in Omaha.
Wow.
My question for you is, why did you decide to use your own plane on this tour?
Use our own plane?
Aeroplane. Well, because we used one on the last tour, and it basically made the whole aspect of touring so much more easy for us, because when you're using your own plane, you can take off and land whenever it suits you rather than when it suits the airline. And when we did initially start the Hysteria tour, we were flying commercial, but we found that when some of the smaller gigs we were playing, maybe like Billings, Montana or whatever, you got to get up at 9 a.m. You had to get up at 7 a.m. for a 9 a.m. flight, because there were 3 or 4 connections to get there. And sometimes we wouldn't get out of the venue till gone 2. You might not get to bed till 4 and you're up at 7. It was killing us. But this way we can sleep till 1, fly at 1:30, get in at 2:30, sound check at 3. And it basically makes for a better show because the band are that much more alive, basically.
The other guys a minute ago, Phil and Viv and Rick, were talking about getting these neck things that go around so that you can actually sleep without waking up with a neck that's in the next county or the state or something.
Actually, I don't think Vivian needs one of those because he can sleep on his head. He's got the amazing ability to fall asleep at the drop of a hat.
And I don't think Phil would have any chance of falling asleep anyway, because when we're on the plane, if it's a long enough journey to fall asleep, Vivian's going to have his acoustic guitar out playing Beatles songs or Crowded House songs, so he'd never get to sleep.
He actually said in the air, we're off the air, Phil said that he did fall asleep and he woke up with a stiff neck, and Vivian said to him, "You fell asleep during all those great Beatles songs I was playing? How could you? How dare you do that?" We're going to go back to Pyromania. We should play a song from that tonight on Rockline with Def Leppard, and this is Photograph on the Global Satellite Network. Photograph, Def Leppard on Rockline on the Global Satellite Network. We are with Rick Savage and Joe Elliott right now on Bob Coburn. We'll take a time out. We'll come back in just one moment. I think we have time for another song. Certainly more time for your phone calls. Toll free at 1-800-344-ROCK. It's Rockline on the Global Satellite Network. Bob Coburn, and you're listening to Rockline on the Valley's Rock and Roll Station, 95.1 WZZO. Welcome back to Rockline with Bob Coburn. We are with Joe Elliott and Rick Savage right now. We had earlier on the program the other three members of Def Leppard. The second song on the CD after Let's Get Rocked is Heaven Is, which is a personal favorite. Will that be the next AOR track, do you think? Is that a possibility, or has it been decided yet?
It's a possibility. We tend to see how things go. You know, we never dictate which songs go to in any particular order. We sometimes have maybe a strong view on what we think is going to be the first single off the record. After that, you tend to just let it see how people are reacting to the record. So, I must admit, at this moment in time, I have no idea whether it will absolutely be the next track. It possibly will be. It has been talked about, but we haven't made a decision yet.
You know, after all these years that I've been on FM rock radio, I'm still uncomfortable with the term AOR.
Yeah,
it's like, what the heck is that, you know?
We never really knew. It's the same old thing. People direct things at us, and like, we write songs and record songs just how we would like to hear it played on a radio, and we don't really know what that means or how it comes about. We just do it, and that's why, as Joe said, we never really plan it. We never really know what the next one should be, because we spend so much energy in the studio getting the songs exactly how we want it to be heard. Then we tend to let somebody else sort of go with it if they feel right.
That's where your focus should be, work on the music, and let somebody else decide that. Yeah. And apparently they have decided that this will be the next album-oriented rock track.
It is album. I never knew whether it was album or adult or...
It's rock radio, that's what it is.
That sounds good to me.
And here's Heaven Is. Heaven Is, Def Leppard on Rockline and Bob Coburn. Let's hit the phones again from Reston, Virginia. Susan is on the line. She's listening to 98 Rock in Baltimore, Maryland. And Susan, here's Def Leppard for you, at least Joe and Rick Savage.
Hi, guys.
Hi, how are you?
I just wanted to know, how do you keep your success from going to your heads?
Headphones. They're wearing headphones.
Yeah, really. Good question. I think it's because we are, in the truest sense of the word, a band. And by that, it's a democracy, it's a cooperative, whatever you want it to be. All 5 members of the band have equal say, and we have if there is an ego in the band, it's a split, shared ego. And if anybody takes a bigger chunk of the pie than the rest, then they get a swift kick up the backside, and it's like, don't step out of line. So we pretty much keep each other in check, but I also think that our upbringing, our family upbringing, and our, just through childhood and what have you, keeps you pretty much level-headed. For 21 years, I lived in Sheffield in just a regular two-up, two-down terrace house, where proper family values, etc., and money wasn't thrown around, in a flashy way by any means. And you can't just drop that when you become 22 and you move into an apartment. Everything still has a value to it, and it's hard to kind of shed those values. And I think we all kind of came from a working class background collectively enough for it to always affect the way that you think and the way that you behave.
Phil and Rick Allen were talking about that's why Vivian is in the band right now, because he fits in.
It's very important, yeah. I mean, to go on for what Joe was saying, it's something that you find yourself, you don't think about it, you just find yourself doing it naturally. And that's why it was important to find somebody like Vivian who thinks along the same lines,
Susan, good call. Let's squeeze in one more here. Brooke, you're going to get your shot here from Warren, Ohio, listening to The Wolf in Youngstown. Welcome.
Hi, Joe. Hi, Rick.
Hi there.
My question is, do you guys plan on recording with any upcoming bands or established bands for a special project and have the proceeds go to research on alcoholism?
We certainly haven't been approached on any such matter. We certainly believe that such things are very worthwhile causes, and if the opportunity arose, I'm sure we could do something in that vein. It's always a worthwhile thing. Obviously, we've seen the effects of alcoholism at a very close range, and it's not a pretty thing, and anything that anybody could do to help such a disease is certainly worthwhile doing.
What a nice way to end the show on a meaningful note. Brooke, thank you for a great call.
Thank you.
Thanks to everyone for listening and calling. Next week, we'll be back in Hollywood with Slaughter. Coming up soon, REM, Melissa Etheridge with Delbert McClinton, Sass Jordan, The Archangels, Patty Smythe, and much more. Special thanks tonight go to Eliza and everyone at Q Prime Management, to Laurie Counter and Dawn Bridges at Mercury Records, also to Anita Saffron, and of course to our guests this evening, Phil Collin, Vivian Campbell, Rick Allen, Rick Savage, and Joe Elliott. Thanks to the two of you who have remained. The other three have departed into the night. No doubt critiquing your performance.
Yeah, they'll be sat in the car listening and laughing at us, probably.
I'm surprised they haven't phoned in, actually.
I will see you in concert at an unnamed date here in Southern California coming up.
There will be more than one in the coming months, for sure.
Fantastic. Thanks for a wonderful evening, you guys.
Thanks.
I'm BC, and I'll be seeing you in a week. You've been listening to Rockline, brought to you by Budweiser, Nothing Beats a Bud, by Columbia House Music Club, entertaining America one person at a time, and by AT&T, more ways to help you stay in touch. Rockline is engineered by Jimmy Height. Welcome back, Jimmy. Chris Lindsley, Jimmy Rash, John Valenzuela. Technical direction by Mike Correa. Talent acquisition by Richard Kimball. Thanks to Kevin Stevens, Greg Jernigan, Jim Jacob, Tim Carney, Eric Soria, and Laura Gerhardt for their special help. Our associate producer is Stephanie Fondler. Rockline is produced by Lindsay Guerrero. Our executive producer, Howard Gilman. Rockline is an exclusive presentation of the Global Satellite Network.